Hi, Alberto.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. I'm doing fine. And you?
Yeah, very good. I'm excited to have you here. So, in case you don't know me, my name is Sophie. I have a blog that talks about global affairs and technology. And I'm here with Alberto today, who is a full stack developer and who is going to talk to us about solutions engineering. So, Alberto, can you please just briefly introduce yourself for the audience?
Yes, good morning. I'm Alberto. I'm a biomedical engineer turned developer recently. And well, I've been working on several startups, doing different kind of jobs on the product side and now on development. And yeah, like this is like a summary of myself. Yeah.
Sounds good. Excellent.
Mhm.
Well, thanks for joining me today. I have a couple of questions I want to ask you to demystify the term solutions engineer, which is something that has become a little bit more prevalent with AI tools and people building AI applications. So let's start with these questions. When somebody asks you, what is a solutions engineer, for example, at a dinner party, what would you answer them?
Yeah, that's like a tricky question because different people have different definitions. But for me, it's going to the core of the term, that is engineering solutions. So trying to look out on how different problems affect different areas and trying to like going from start to end to provide a solution that solves that problem. For me, it's like in one sentence is that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're an expert on problem solving and solving problems that are digital. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been working around the SaaS, software as a service sector for the past 2 years, and yeah, that's been my niche, solving problems using software. Mhm.
Mhm. So from what I understand, you work at the intersection of developing and building web applications, phone applications, AI, and then also research regarding design and user experience. So can you tell me a little bit more about how those things intersect and like in which order do you do that?
Yeah, like for providing all these solutions with software, you have like to put on different hats. So normally you start by doing some user research, understanding the problem, interviewing the different stakeholders to see what are the key pain points, and then trying to bring that down into some design that could solve that problem easily so that they can go from 0 to 100 in a few clicks, no, in the software wise. Also, on that time, we are also looking on the background the different technologies that might help more or less to solve the problem. Maybe just a simple app with a front end and a back end, like the visible part and some business logic code. It's all right, but maybe if the solution is or the problem is more complex, we should try to look for more advanced solutions. That's where AI comes in, that tries to solve maybe a more language wise complex problems, like trying to analyze the sentiments of the phrases so that that gives us some result. Or for example, on the medical side, up until now, triage has been done manually. Then there has been some solutions, but it's more difficult because you have lots of branches. Depending on the question, you can have lots of different solutions, no? And the thing of this is that you have to program all the different cases. But thanks to AI, for example, triage is becoming easier because you can just analyze what's happening with the answers of the patients, and that being classified by AI easier. No? So that's where you have to analyze if AI is suitable for what you're solving. And that's where I see the intersection. No? Mhm.
So what is triage? Sorry.
Triage is where you classify the patients in the order of if it's you should attend them quicker or no, like by urgency. Sorry.
So is that one of the examples of the solutions that you have built recently?
Yeah, on my latest startup, I worked on an app that connected patients with the clinicians so that clinicians go to the patient's house. So we had to develop some way of sorting the patients, like
Mhm.
what happens on the ER room. So that's where we try to introduce and test how AI could solve this. The thing is that it's a bit tricky and you have to test it a lot because you have like it's a delicate step, so you have to have like a high percentage of success rates, no? So it's been like a while. But yeah, that's what one of the applications of AI, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very clear. So, what was another really exciting problem that you think you have managed to address through your solutions engineering?
One thing that I've been recently trying and that I love a lot is that with AI and like imagine an interface that you can speak with, and depending on what you are talking about, imagine if you are like, let me say a trivial thing like getting an entrance to a cultural event, no, that you can, for example, talk with the AI and the screen, the interface switches depending on what you're talking with, no. So if I'm just mm, talking about if I should go to the event A or event B, the interface shows the different things. But when I speak with the AI, okay, let me use this, go to event A, the interface switches because I've said so. Like the interactions, the boundaries of multimodality are lowering, and the interface is interacting, is being more fluid. And the tendency is that AI will create in real time the interfaces, and I'm exploring that side because it's very exciting to see how everything blends in, no? So that's one of the most exciting things that I'm being testing right now.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating. And also really cool and exciting. So, can you tell me more about multimodality? What does that actually mean and how do you make it real?
Yeah, multimodality is the capacity, like as humans, to communicate in different ways, no? We have like a written language, we have spoken language, we can communicate by signs, by seeing us, no? So that's how things are also evolving for AI. You know, we started with text processing first, but then it's been with images, now it's with videos, and so on, and speech also. So it's the capacity of switching between all these different modes in a seamless way without losing information, and being able to convert whatever to whatever. No, that's the
Mhm.
goal. And in the future, more dimensions will be added. No, like for example, on software, also other modalities converting one file format to another file format, no? And that also could be done seamlessly by AI, and that's where we are reaching to, no?
Mhm.
Mm.
Very cool. Mm. Yeah, so there are a couple of tools that already, for example, you can think of large language models like ChatGPT, where you can type, you can dictate with voice, you can also send images,
Yeah,
files. Hmm,
yeah.
I see. Um, so if somebody is curious about building AI applications like that, but they are not really technical. They don't have coding experience or knowledge. What would you tell them, and where would you tell them to get started?
Well, I would tell them that it's a great moment to start because tools are getting easier and easier to manage. For example, some of the tools like we have been talking about, like Lovable, Replit, what more like Claude Code is a good option also. Like they are all working with the prompt to whatever system, no? So you just with natural language explain what you want and it transforms it into something, no? What all these different companies are mostly tackling right now is the creation of web apps. But for sure, the same with apps will translate and with other things. And mostly right now they are very good at simple front end and back ends. But in the future, they will also specialize on other things like creating AI algorithms or whatever. Replit, for example, has announced recently the creation of agents just by prompting. So this is advancing very quickly. What I say today will be outdated tomorrow. But the thing is, the takeaway is like it's very easy right now to create software, simple software, and it will get easier. What I recommend is like to be curious, to have imagination. I think that's like trending to become more valuable. The capacity of joining different things and creating by joining, but in a singular way with your point of view. So my advice is to be curious and to learn, like you learn a language. Like if you were to start French right now, you would start like learning the key terms, the phrases, the pronunciation. So this would be the same. Like if you were to specialize in creating software for biomedical things, you would like to understand the terms so that you can then communicate it to the AI, because that's more efficient than trying, for example, to ask for water without telling the word water. Like it's a lot of more context to that could be very vague and the AI could not understand you. So if you learn the correct terms, you can then go more direct and more efficient to creating whatever you want. So yeah, that's my key takeaways.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, it's true. I see that too, that with the rise of AI and AI powered tools, what becomes more valuable is, like you said, this capacity to imagine something new, something that the AI itself cannot come up with. So I really like it that at the end of the day, this is making creative and imaginative people who are curious and not afraid of thinking outside the box. It makes them a little bit more exciting and valuable. Mhm.
Totally, totally. And what I said, like the tools are becoming so much easier. So it's matter of time that things will translate directly. Like what you imagine can come out as a result very, very quick and easy. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
I've seen it myself. We were just talking about this, that, I was using Lovable, trying to create like a really simple web app. And it's true, it's really accessible. And although I have very minimal coding experience that I wouldn't think is enough to build an app, I felt like I was really capable of doing something tangible really quickly. So I can imagine that this is going to really expand the possibilities. Really exciting.
Tot- Totally.
Mhm.
And and the thing is that also the learning path has been changing, I think, with this, because it's like more like a toy in the sense that you could learn by doing. Like for example, if you were to continue using Lovable, maybe you will start to see some patterns where if you say A, it gives you this result, and if you change, and like you will you could learn by doing, and just like, well, if I want to change the design, what is happening here, and learn a bit of design, and then incorporate that and continue. So it's the dynamics of learning, I think, will also change thanks to
Mhm.
this. Mm.
Mhm. That brings me to my next question. How do you test whatever you come up with those tools? So let's say you are working on an AI application, you have a prototype. How do you start testing whether it's actually doing the thing you want it to be doing?
Okay, do you mean like technically, or with the users, if what I've done is being really useful for our users? So from which point of view?
Yeah, I was actually wondering both. Like, how do you first test it to see if it works? And then, like, technically, and then how do you see if it works in terms of does it actually have the intended effect in the long term? Are people happy with it? Are people returning to use it? How do you go about that?
Yeah. So testing on the technical side, normally on programming, you can create like different tests functionalities, so that you can test, for example, I don't know, like the logging feature, you to test all the different possibilities that people could do in order to see if the system is robust enough. Um, and then, for example, on AI applications, we also have this new variable of users can say whatever they want. If it's like something, an AI application where you can write freely, for example. So it's good to create tests with AI also, where
Mm,
AI creates a lot of different scenarios. You can prompt the AI to create, okay, this person with this problem that talks like this. Is using our system, and you're explaining the system, and then you change all the different personas, you change all the different situations, and the AI generates different answers, and then that is the test. Like, you input that, and then you see how the output is going. So then you can fine tune your AI algorithms, or the AI agents, or whatever. So
mm,
is the two different paths when it's an AI application and when it's like a normal app. Hmm.
mm. Yes, that's very
And
cool. So you use the AI not just to build the application, but also to test it and to have so many different scenarios that the AI could come up with. Okay, that's
yeah,
very cool.
yeah. And then on the user side, what we normally do is just interview people, show them the tool, and ask them to use them freely. Like, imagine you are a user that wants to get an entrance. How would you do it? And just observe the different mm, facial cues, how they come frustrated if they stop or they overanalyze. That are signs that maybe you have something in the interface that is not totally being clear for the user. And also, you can just command people to do something, like open your profile, and you can check functionality by functionality if it's easy for them to reach that point, or if they get lost.
Mhm,
So yeah, and then also ask them questions if there was something missing, like general questions about the experience, no? Mm.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. You still need the humans at the end of the day to see how it works with the human psychology and the human feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
What is one challenge that you are encountering at the moment in what you're doing in building digital solutions?
Yeah. Okay, so for example, when creating the different AI applications, as they are very open-ended, because users can interact in a more natural way. I think that is challenging is to spot early different behaviors that you weren't expecting for your application, and trying to give answers to people in the most uncertain way with the best knowledge. If it's, for example, some AI that gives you information about your company or your system or whatever, that is like a help center. So it's challenging sometimes for some questions that we don't have really answers for, to come up with a reasonable
Mm.
answer, a reasonable, so that users can be satisfied and we give a quality service, no? So that's been like a real challenge with these open-ended systems, no? But I think that's evolving. We are getting even more insights and access to all the different variants. As I was saying before, we can now more test it, generate different answers and test them, and creating evals. So I think that's becoming easier to tackle. But it was like a common challenge on the different applications.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. You have to think about everything that could come up, that people could come up with, which is really difficult. I can imagine that. So, looking in the future, like 5, 10 years ahead, how do you see your role as a solutions engineer? How do you see your role evolve with the evolution of the AI tools?
Okay, so what I see is that we can we can wear more hats. Like in the future, we will be able to act as a designer, act as an engineer, act as customer service. Like, you could be more fluid on your jobs, and that's a great thing because until now you have your job with your job functions, and it's like more siloed. And in the future, I think this will open up to all your different areas that you like about yourself, or you think you are good at, but you cannot use them on your daily jobs. But in the future, I think that you could wear all these different hats, and dynamics in teams, I think, will evolve also on that side. Like, right now I'm stuck in this, but someone on my team maybe is more fluent on that, and that person will take charge on that aspect, and then it can bounce back, and it will be like more fluid, and sharing all these different hats, like with using AI to design, using AI to engineer, using AI to whatever, no? So I think that would be the perspective of the roles, which, for my point of view, can be more enriching. But also it has some challenges. I think that you have to keep up constantly, and I don't know how this the acceleration of AI progress is going to affect us on all the different aspects. So yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility, there's a lot of possibilities, but there's also at the same time a lot of uncertainty. And I think what you said earlier, being able to be creative in the midst of all that is going to be an incredible quality in the next few years.
Totally, totally. Being
Mm.
able to see new patterns, new connections, and trying to come up with original solutions that help users, no? It's like a fusion of all the different disciplines together. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Mm.
Well, thanks for this really insightful conversation. It's been a pleasure to discuss this solution engineering with you, and I hope that it has informed, our audience about what this is and potentially inspired them to start engineering solutions with AI. So yeah, thanks again, Alberto, for taking the time.
Thank you for the time. I really enjoyed it.
Bye.
Okay, bye.